How you doing, guys? My name is Jason. I'm the lead tattoo artist and piercer at Forever Grind Inc. in Spring, Texas. And here to talk about some don'ts and do's when it comes to taking care of your brand new piercing. Alright, obviously, first I'm going to go over the don'ts. And there's a list, a little bit. And as far as the do's, not so many, but they're big ones. Alright, don'ts. Alright, first and foremost, don't touch piercing with dirty hands. Don't let anyone else touch your piercings, clean or not. Okay. Avoid bodily contact with another human being because, well, you're not quite sure what it is they have in them or on them, and you don't want that in your piercing. Okay. There are several piercings I can think of that bodily contact is almost inevitable. Alright. Also, be mindful of the products that you use to take care of and maintain your piercings. Alright, so don't use alcohol, peroxide, Bactine, Neosporin, bacitracin, and I've already covered the use of saline solutions and salt waters in the previous video, and how not to use them and how to use them. Also, you want to avoid, these are the don'ts category. You don't want to put yourself in a situation where you have U-soup. Right? U-soup is defined as pretty simple. Any situation where you're put into a standing body of water, warm or not, and you're submerged. Okay, jacuzzis, hot tubs, lakes, lakes, ponds, swimming pools, baby pools, things like that. Because of, in certain situations, bacterial content can actually cause all kinds of problems. Infections are quite easy to get if you're in a situation like that. So, oh yeah, and of course, bathtubs. What? Don't take a bath? No, don't take a bath. Clean yourself, please shower. Shower is always good. But submerging yourself and your piercings in a hot bath is one of the quickest ways to get an infection. Now, also some of the don'ts. You don't want to mess with your jewelry. All right. Anytime you're not cleaning it, don't mess with it. All right. It's tempting. It is. Every single time I have to do a piercing, the first instinct that the person wants to do is touch the piercing with dirty flipping hands. All right. Don't mess with it. All right. If you're not cleaning it, you shouldn't be messing with it. All right. Because after all, it might not remember to wash your hands before you touch it. Alright, so if you're not touching it, you're not worrying about it. Alright, and you have to wash your hands anyway in order before you wash it, so there you go. Some do's. Really simple. Do make sure that you clean it 3 times a day. Do use soap and water. Do rinse it properly. Do wait until the maximum healing length, and that your piercer will give you an average. For me, most cartilage piercings of any form, nose, ears, usually 6 to 8 weeks. For soft tissue, it's usually anywhere from 4 to 6 weeks, and other piercings, like the ones below the waist, in some cases heal relatively fast, and these are all depending on the person's actual biology. That's why you have to give a ballpark. All right, but the full amount of time for it to heal is ideal before you want to change it out. All right, and also with your jewelry choices. All right, it's a big deal. There's some do's and don'ts in that as well. All right, now normally a piercer will 9% of piercers out there will use surgical stainless steel, 316L being the most common used. There's a rarity that they'll use anything else. There are other choices: titanium, gold, platinum, palladium, all these other ones that Nibian that are on the market. And yes, there are artists there are piercers that will use that. Nothing wrong with that, except for the cost to you as a consumer, and what kind of jewelry is being used, and the length of the jewelry. So I'm going to go on a little bit about that right now on jewelry. All right. Most standard use is, of course, like I said, the stainless steel. Now, when a piercer usually puts in a piece of jewelry, it's usually oversized, lengthwise. Okay, that's to kind of just make sure that you have enough room for cleaning, as well as any kind of swelling you might occur. Swelling is almost inevitable with most piercings. Even a little bit can play a factor if your jewelry is too short. If it's too short, then you're not going to be able to clean it. Chances are your body's going to actually begin to grow around it. That happens all the time with lip piercings. I can't even think of how many of them I've actually had to cut out of people because they were using, they got pierced with the wrong size jewelry. That goes on to when you go to a piercer and they want to try to use a titanium or some kind of high-end jewelry as your initial piercing. The problem with that is usually after the healing's done, you're going to want to change out that long, uncomfortable, because it is. In some cases, like for tongue piercings, it's uncomfortable to have the longer bar in. Eyebrow rings, lip rings, stick out like antennas. Some of the ones for the infamous triple helix, most artists will use an over large one. Same thing. Most common ones I use for ears, usually a horseshoe. I try to avoid a horseshoe or captive ring because you don't want to get it caught or anything. Occasionally I will use a short stud, but I always make sure that there's enough room in case you have any kind of swelling, because you can actually get cauliflower ear from being, getting a piercing. If you don't know what that is, just look at MMA fighters; they have it all the time, and that just happens from just any trauma that can happen to the ear. But I've seen lips swell up, massive purple, blue things that just crazy looking. But if the bar is not long enough, well, or the ring's not wide enough, then you could cause more trauma. You can cut into your own skin. Your skin can grow over it. So usually it's best to make sure that whatever piece of jewelry is being used, that it's the right size. If it's not long enough, if you look at it and you look at the piece of jewelry and it's this tiny little thing, and you feel that might be uncomfortable, inform your piercer that you really don't want that put in your body. Okay, and always make sure that that the equipment's been sterilized, the jewelry's been sterilized. Any kind of clamps that are used, I don't use a lot of clamps. Only in the mouth region do I ever use clamps, only because, well, saliva is really slippery. But make sure that your this kind of goes on the do-don't list also. Make sure that your artist, is opening everything up in front of you. If everything's sealed in a package, and if they sterilize individual pieces of jewelry or individual pieces of equipment, watch them do it. Watch them put the tray in, pull the tray out. In some cases, that some places don't do that. They'll just present it to you already undone and ready to go. That's not necessarily a good thing. All right. Also, if you're under the age of 18, and depending on states, I know different states have different laws. Here in Texas, if you're under the age of 18, your parent needs to sign for you, and then you present proof of parentage, documentation, some kind of documentation proving that they're your parent. Don't go to some shop and when you're 16, 17, you want to get it pierced, and You make a deal with the piercer. If you're doing that, you're hurting yourself, you're hurting the piercer, you're hurting the shop. Granted, that shop should be just freaking closed down anyway, because it's one of the big no-nos is you don't mess with minors. You don't do that. I'm very adamant about that. I've had to turn down countless 16, 17-year-olds because they just really want it so bad. They're so close. But it's no. I've had, well, my sister, no, your sister can't sign for you. Well, she's 18, or my friend's 18 or whatever. But it still goes on the don't do that. Don't, if you're not 18, get your parents to sign for you. If they don't want to sign for you, you probably shouldn't have the piercing, right? All right. Now, what was I gonna say? Don't do. Cover. Don't use sea salt sprays, and the like. And Q-tips. For God's sakes, don't use a freaking Q-tip to clean your piercing. It doesn't clean the piercing. You get the outside piercing, it gets a little bit of the crusties on the outside, but the mass majority of the actual jewelry is stuck in your skin. You can't clean your jewelry and piercing site with a freaking Q-tip. It just doesn't work. I've already covered that in another video. The exception, of course, is with a nose ring, but I'm gonna cover that in yet again another video on piercing the nose. And I'll take care of that. The ease in which to do it. But basically, if you're keeping it clean, you're not messing with it. Nobody else is messing with it. You're not submerging it. You're not rubbing your piercing in dirt and dung. You shouldn't have much of a problem. It should heal up really nicely. And yes, it takes 6 to 8 weeks, 4 to 6 weeks, in order for these wounds to heal. All right, it's no different than if you got stitches. It takes time to heal. There's no fast track. There's no way to increase the heal rate. Everyone's different, but in most cases, a month and a half is about usual time for a piercing to heal. All right, there are plenty of people who are like, oh, I want it to heal, so it healed in 2 weeks. Noted. It might have stopped oozing, and it might feel okay, but it's not healed. If you try and change it out, you put a brand new piercing in there, brand new piece of jewelry, you could very well be screwing up and reopening a wound that was supposed to be already healed. All right, it's not. All right. So, pretty easy. Keep it clean. Keep yourself clean. Always wash your hands before you touch it. That's really it. It's not complicated, kids. It's not hard at all. But it's amazing how many times I have people come in and it's a problem because they want to do their own thing. They want to mess with it. They want to just keep it clean. It's that simple. Anyway, thank you for watching, and if you like what you saw, go ahead and subscribe. Tell your friends. And if you have any questions, put it in the comments. I'll be happy to let you know what's going on. If you have any questions on like jewelry, anything like that, any video requests, just let me know. I'll probably answer questions in videos and other videos. All right. Well, anyway, peace out.